Hey guys, Tiberius here from Strong and Nerdy, and today I'm going to be reviewing the DUP 4.1 training program, or training cycle, whatever you want to call it. It's what I did for the last 8 weeks, and I just want to give my thoughts on it. The positive, the negative, and what I think works and what I think doesn't. So to start off with the positives, I think it's great that you have to have a plan to stick to. I don't think without like a dedicated plan for the last 8 weeks I would have gone every day. I know a lot of people like start training or whatever and then like they end up just kind of dropping off. So having a set program and to know what you're doing every day is definitely a big help. So it's split between squat and deadlift days, that's 3 days a week, and then bench and upper body days, and that's also 3 days a week. So you're in there a total of 6 days, and what I like about that is that you're constantly like rolling out, you're constantly stretching. So say like on a traditional cycle you would squat and then not really stretch your lower body for a few days either, even though you should. You just get busy, you're sitting all day, you're just moving, you're getting blood flow to the muscles, so you're not like stiff. And the last thing I like is the AMRAP. So you'll do like 3 sets of 8 on squat, and then there's a 4th set where you drop the weight down and you do as many reps as possible. Finally, it's just a great way to get back to like form a habit. I think for most people, like getting back into the gym, it's that first like week or two is hard. You're sore, you're tired, you just like want to go sit on the couch, you want to play some games, you want to watch a movie, or you want to Netflix and chill, if you will. So it's a great way to form a habit and just get your butt back into the gym. So some of the negatives I want to touch on. In the original video, he mentions high frequency and high volume equals gains. For me, I think because I had a lot of muscle memory from doing this stuff a few years ago, that I came back faster, but I also came in with a few injuries. So the first one was when I was doing lat pull downs. As I went down, I looked to the left or right. From my left side, a pain shot down from my neck all the way down to my hand, and it caused me like shoulder pain, it caused me tightness, and anytime after that I would go to do any back work, like another lat pull down, whenever I would squeeze, I would just get a lot of tightness in my forearm. So for me, I just had some injuries going into it. Another gripe of mine is that there just wasn't enough variety with the assistance work. So for example, day 1 is squat and deadlift, and then the accessory work after that is bicep exercise for 3 sets of 8, and then calf raises. And I'm sorry, but like to get my deadlift stronger, and not do any additional lower back work or hamstring work or anything like that. For me, it doesn't help. Maybe for you it does, or other people, whoever's trying this out, it does. I think that deadlifting alone is enough to just strengthen your deadlift. The accessory work is there for a reason. It's to strengthen the smaller muscles, to allow them to grow and make everything stronger. I would feel great for my squats because that's the first thing I would hit. And then afterwards on deadlifts, I would just feel really fatigued and tired. And again, this is me getting back into lifting after not lifting for a year and a half or so. So maybe it's different if you've already been lifting and you're kind of used to it. But as someone just going right into the program, down the road during the higher weight stuff, it wasn't great. During the beginning first few weeks, I really liked it just to get acclimated to doing those movements again. So maybe this is a kind of program where like lightweight works, but when you get to the heavier stuff, it's not as effective. So that leads me to my next topic, and that is not enough recovery time. If you're squatting and then deadlifting, and then the next day you're benching, and then the next day after that you're squatting and deadlifting again, for me that wasn't enough recovery time. And I ended up actually on bench one day, I was going up and my elbows they just flared, and it caused me some tightness in both elbows, kind of like golfer's elbow symptoms. So I ended up just having knots in my tricep, and it still caused me a little pain. In my other videos you can see I'm using the Mark Bell slingshot cuffs, and I highly recommend those if you have any elbow pain. I honestly think without them I wouldn't have been able to get through my workouts. So aside from the injuries, for me, I also generally get to the gym pretty late, just from my work schedule and whatnot. So by the time I would be done squatting and then deadlifting, going up to 3 or 4 plates, there isn't a lot of time for accessory work. So some days I would be done deadlifting at 11, and I'd have to be at work in the morning. I'd be exhausted and just wouldn't have the energy to go through with the accessory work, so I'd just head home. I mean, it got to a point where like when I was doing overhead presses, I just couldn't, because it felt like such a strain. And I later discovered that it had to do with like, it wasn't the muscle in here, it was the nerves. So I guess I strained a nerve. I think that has, and again, that goes back to the original injury. For me, I just discovered that I need the extra time off to heal, and that is from my injuries. During the last 3 weeks of the training cycle, you do get an extra day off. And that's because like on week 5, you were doing 4 sets of 5 with 85%. So you would do squat and deadlift on day 1, bench on day 2. On day 3, you would rest. But then day 4, squat and deadlift. And then day 6 is also squat and deadlift. So I did miss a total of 9 workouts. I just needed those additional extra days off to recover, especially when you're going into the heavier part of the training cycle, like starting on week 5. A good example is like, say day 4 is squat for 5 sets of 3 with 90%, which for me was 450, and then deadlift after that was 3 sets of 3 with 410. I got the first 2 sets on deadlift, but the third set just like didn't come up. And then 2 days later, it was 3 sets of 1 with 92.5%. So I hit 465 on squat. And then when I went to go deadlift, I got to 405, and my back was like, no, you're done. I gave my deadlift a week off, went to go hit 425, and it came up, but it was not pretty. So I ended up having to like take that entire week off of deadlifting, get worked on, had some knots in my back, and luckily when I maxed out, all that stuff was fine. But if I didn't have the physical therapy to help break down all that tissue and just to fix me, there's no way I would have done it. If you've seen any of my other videos and you see me talking about my back pain, I think squatting and deadlifting for that many weeks in a row, back to back, you just need, your body doesn't have enough time to recover, and then eventually it just says like, hey man, screw you, like I'm not doing this. So if you want to look at my maxes to see what I had in July, it was a 500-pound squat, a 330 bench, and a 455 deadlift, weighing around 320. And so 8 weeks later in September, I did a 550 squat, a 345 bench, and a 465 deadlift, while I dropped roughly 25 pounds or so. It's hard to say either way because I already had that muscle memory. Again, I've squatted 600 in 2012 and 2013 at 2 separate meets, one at 308 and one at 275. I'm recording this review a week later, and now I'm on a different type of training. I'm 3 weeks out from the Europa here in Phoenix, and I'm going back to more traditional route. So on Wednesday, I hit deadlift for 5 sets of 3 with 415, and without squatting before, and it moved faster than it ever has if I had squatted first. So I hit bench with 310 for 5 sets of 3, and that moved super fast. And then just today, I hit squats 5 sets of 3 with 475, and then hit leg press and some hamstring curls and just more lower body accessory stuff, and I feel a lot better. Again, there's no way I could have pulled that 415 that I did on Wednesday after squatting 475 today. So I'm a big proponent of just like letting your body recover, letting it do its thing. For me, I think because I had that muscle memory already, that I was able to kind of build up, like my squat, for example, made a huge jump. And like I said, just getting in the gym and training consistently, it was great. But for long-term strength gains, whatever, I wouldn't do this program again. I need more rest, and again, I just can't deadlift after squatting and expect to get like best performance. If this is something that you'd want to try, I go for it. If you think you can handle the high volume and high frequency and stuff, give it a shot. You know, everyone's different. So I do want to say thank you. I don't think I would be where I am without your help, so I appreciate that. But for now, I think I have to say goodbye, and I'm going to be doing a more traditional approach until this meet, and then we'll figure it out after that. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Fitocracy, and MyFitnessPal. And if you have any questions about the training program or anything, please leave a comment, subscribe, and remember, get strong and stay nerdy.